Hello, I'm Benjamin Aronov, and I'm going to show you how to manage your secrets in Python using environment variables. In this video, I'll cover everything you need to know about environment variables in Python. We'll look at how to get and set them, explore the benefits of using environment variables, and show you how we use them with APIs like Vonage's Voice API. You're going to need just 3 things to get started: a Vonage developer account with a virtual phone number, Python installed on your machine, and a text editor like Visual Code Studio. Check out the episode notes for links to help with these prerequisites. Environment variables are variables stored outside your program that influence how it runs. For example, you can store API keys, secrets, or configuration settings in environment variables instead of hard coding them in your source code. Here are a few benefits of using environment variables. First, security. They help safeguard sensitive data like API keys and passwords. Second, configuration management. It's easier to manage and modify configuration settings. Third, portability. Your code can run in different environments like development or production without changes to the code itself. Fourth, testing and debugging. Adjust environment variables easily during testing without altering the source code. Let's get started by learning how to get and set environment variables in Python. Start by opening your terminal and creating a folder for all of the files we'll use today. Then move inside and create a Python file. I'm using Mac OS. If you're using a Windows throughout this tutorial, you'll need to use Windows equivalent commands where relevant. For instance, instead of touch, you could use echo. Then open the file with your favorite text editor. To access environment variables in Python, we use the built-in OS module. Let's use the user environment variable as an example. You can also use the .get method to avoid errors if the variable doesn't exist. This method is useful when the environment variable might be optional. Then return to the command line and run your code. Next, let's set an environment variable in Python. We'll continue using the user variable. This approach allows you to update an existing environment variable by assigning a new value to it. And again, let's run the code in the command line. There are 5 primary methods for storing environment variables in Python. First, on the operating system. Second, in a file. Third, on the cloud. Fourth, in a project CI/CD pipeline. And fifth, using a universal secrets manager. Sometimes you'll want to store environment variables directly on your operating system, especially for quick setups. Let's set Vonage API key as a variable in your terminal. You can check its value on Mac OS by using echo. This will print the value of the environment variable, but remember, it only persists for the current terminal session. To test this, reopen a new terminal window and print the value again. If you want to keep environment variables for future use, you can store them in a file like .env. Now inside of our project folder, create a new file called .env. To load these variables into your Python program, you can use the python.env package. To keep our project clean and isolating python.env from other projects on our machine, you should create a Python virtual environment. Then you can install the python.env library using the pip package installer. Now inside .env file, assign a value to our environment variable. Next, open the env testing file and import our package. The load.env function pulls in all the environment variables for the env file. We can test the code again by running our env testing file. This approach keeps your environment variables safe and accessible across sessions. For production software, your application will be stored in a cloud storage provider. In this example, you can see how to store environment variables with Heroku. This approach keeps your sensitive information secure and separate from your code base. Additionally, Heroku securely stores environment variables in encrypted storage, and this GUI interface makes updates quick and seamless. Continuous integration and continuous deployment, or CI/CD, is an automated process that helps your team build, test, and deploy code quickly and consistently. One of the most common CI/CD pipelines is GitHub Actions. To add environment variables to your GitHub Actions pipeline, go to the repository settings and navigate to Secrets and Variables. Open the Actions tab, and there you will need to create a new environment, for instance, staging. Then you create environment-specific secrets like your Vonage API key. For larger teams or more complex projects, a universal secrets manager, such as Doppler, can help. Instead of managing secrets locally or across multiple platforms, Doppler allows you to manage all your secrets centrally. Similar to GitHub, you'll create an environment for your project secrets, and then you'll add your environment variable name and value. Lastly, let's see how to use environment variables with external APIs. We'll use Vonage's Voice API as an example. The Vonage Python code snippets repository is a great way to see most Vonage APIs in action with very little setup. First, clone the repo and move into the project. Then set up a Python virtual environment. Next, use pip again to install all the dependencies that are listed in the requirements.txt file. Open the project in your text editor. Rename the .env.dis file to just .env. Let's check out the make an outbound call file. This is the example we'll use. Here we see that we need a Vonage application ID, the private key for that application, and a Vonage virtual number to call from. You'll use your personal number for the to field. For all the snippet examples, you will need your Vonage API key and secret found in your Vonage developer dashboard. Then you'll need to create a Vonage application. Create a name and then click the Generate Private Key button. This will download the private key to your computer. Move it to the root of your Vonage Python code snippets directory, then scroll down and turn on the voice capabilities and save your application. You can now access the application ID and link one of your Vonage phone numbers. Return back to the ENV file and add all the required fields. The API key and secret from the homepage of the dashboard, your application ID, and if you move the private key to the project's root, you can type ./private key. The to number is your personal phone number, and the from number is the Vonage virtual number you link. Now run the Python script. Just like that, you'll have a phone call to your phone. We've covered how to get and set environment variables, explored 5 different methods for storing them, and demonstrated how to integrate them with external APIs such as Vonage. Understanding how to manage environment variables is a key aspect of building secure and adaptable applications. Whether you're storing secrets temporarily in your operating system, using an ENV file, or leveraging cloud-based tools, the right method will depend on your project's requirements. For more information, including best practices on using private keys with environment variables, check the resources linked in the video description. If you have any questions or want to discuss this further, feel free to connect with us on the Vonage community Slack or reach out to Vonage Dev on X.